I gotta say, the black and cold color scheme looks amazing on these Chaos Dwarfs. Today we've got another replay from Anti-Kaiju versus Lenorm. These two seem to be matching up very well right now, which makes me quite happy to show you their games for this Chaos Dwarfs build. Sorcerer, Prophet of Fire up in the air. We've got 4 Chaos Dwarf Warriors up front, some Laborers on the flanks, a couple of Kadai Fireborn for some anti-infantry, and lots of armor-piercing missiles in the form of 2 blunderbusses and 2 fire glaives. Of course, fire glaives also having bayonets, essentially being halberds, is fantastic. As for the Beastmen, we see these Zangors already charging in. Here, we've got some Ungor Raiders, just, what, a couple units of them? Yep. Whole lot of Centaurs, 4 throwing axes, and then we've got some Razorgore herds and Minotaurs with great weapons as well. So let's get things rolling as the Zangors charge on in. Bray Shaman of Wild, I believe. Yep, also charging in here. And one thing about the Chaos Dwarf gunpowder infantry units is that they do seem to have less line of sight issues than a lot of other infantry units we've seen. You know, like it seemed to have less line of sight blockage than something like Empire handgunners, but a big old burning head comes through and doesn't do a ton of damage, but it does definitely disrupt a number of units. Let's see, yeah, these fire glaives, blunderbusses, of course, as I say that, are starting to have some line of sight issues, but the Minotaur's weapons charging in against the Kadai Fireborn. That anti-large AP will be able to punish the fire elementals pretty heavily. Definitely be a bad time for them, but maybe if the guns can get some supporting fire in there, they can help even the score a little bit. Zangors themselves aren't going to trade spectacular against Chaos Dwarf Warriors. I guess it's pretty close. They're pretty near-peer opponents, but with the help of those extra armor-piercing units, it does look like a lot of the Dwarf Warriors are starting to be cut through in the front line, starting to lose out a little bit. But Fire Glaives, of course, plenty of defense. Even the blunderbusses themselves, they've got shields and decent, yeah, 32 melee defense, 28 melee attacks, so 85 armor, of course. They'll be pretty resilient against melee attacks, but these Centaurs are just going to pull up and start to unload their throwing axes. It looks like they're targeting the Sorcerer Prophet there, but a lot of the overshots coming in and hitting these units anyway. But it's going to have to be careful not to get just lit up by counterfire here. The, let's see, 70 range, a little bit less than the 90 range of the blunderbusses, so they are going to have to come in range to throw their axes regardless. But let's see here. Minotaurs trying to punch through. A few of the unit models do get caught up on the fire glaives here, which is obviously going to be bad for them as they get dragged down, but some of them do get through and start to get on those blunderbusses as well. Meanwhile, over here, if the throwing axes can all focus, because the fire glaives are so few in number, and they don't have a shield, they're going to be a much better target than the blunderbusses, actually. They're also more expensive, so going to be quite vulnerable to the shooting attacks of the throwing axes here, but let's see. A little bit of Traderkin as well, which is going to do some fairly hefty damage to this blob, but less damage to the multi-model infantry units than it would to something like Kadai Fireborn, which, surprisingly enough, are still grinding it out here, despite the fact the Minotaurs are long gone. Now, on the opposite side, the Minotaurs were able to win and actually punch through, but interesting. So, Bray Shaman also takes quite a bit of burst damage here from Fire Glaives, and that's going to be really bad for him. Obviously, he's low leadership Beastman Lord and still has a decent amount of Winds of Magic, no doubt, to throw around some more Traderkins. So, see if he's able to come back into the fight. But right now, with his loss, that does give Chaos Dwarfs a pretty nice little advantage. But let's see, there's still a lot of ammunition on these throwing axes. I don't know if they're on fire at will or if they're trying to target specific targets. Yeah, it looks like they may be saving their ammunition to try and target the Sorcerer Prophet at this point. But I'd probably just throw them on fire at will. I mean, there's enough targets for the Chaos Dwarfs that, yeah, they just want to start using the ammunition at this point. But once those blunderbusses are able to consistently focus fire on them, oof, just absolutely brutal damage coming in there. Although some Centaurs interrupting, trying to hit those Infernal Guards there. We've also got some, yeah, Ungor Raiders coming back. The Bray Shaman Lord Wild kind of lurking in the distance. As long as he doesn't get shot up too much, he could potentially come in here and get a couple more casts, although that low leadership is definitely a problem at this point. Yeah, looks like we're going to see a little something there. Is that little cascading fire cloak on those Kadai Fireborn as they go down. They're going to get a little bit of extra melee defense and weapon strength. Help them finish off that unit of Zangors. A little bit of hitching here. Not exactly sure why, but yeah, the Fireglaves making their presence felt, and a really nice kind of presence here to not over-pursue. It's often a danger playing against Beastmen once they get into this phase of the battle where things are all kind of spread out all over the place. With these Chaos Dwarfs, it's smart of them to stay to their guns, stick tight, and not, again, just like over-pursue with these Chaos Dwarf warriors and whatnot. But, oof, that miscast was very unfortunate. Actually is going to lead to the Bray Shaman routing, and I doubt he'll be able to come back, although that Traderkin, upgraded Traderkin's probably enough to actually kill the Sorcerer Prophet. Let's keep a wide view here, as I'm not sure exactly what's causing that stuttering. That is quite frustrating, but, yeah, so the miscast damage kills a great Bray Shaman, but does not end up finishing off the Sorcerer Prophet. So a little bit of a gamble there. Doesn't quite pay off, but still, yeah, still going to be tricky. I don't know. This is one matchup where the Cygor seems appealing. If the accuracy wasn't quite so poor and it was a little bit more consistent, it'd probably be pretty good in this matchup. But, yeah, I like what Lenorm tried to do here. And the Centaur's throwing axes, I mean, again, it was a risk, and they didn't quite pay off, and I think that's the biggest issue. If they had maybe just been able to use up a little bit more of their ammunition, like, I understand trying to save as much as possible to focus on the Sorcerer Prophet, but honestly, the Bray Shaman, as long as he doesn't get sniped in melee or by missiles, his magic is enough, probably by itself, to kill the Sorcerer Prophet. Like, you could just spread those missiles around, and especially against the Fireglaves, who themselves just got some nasty value here. If you can, just focus them down while you have the numbers to try and come in and interrupt. And then, yeah, these guys won't be killing this guy, and then this guy can kill this guy. And anyway, whole cascading effect of consequences. But anyway, Fireglaves are definitely the MVPs here. Nice to see a good performance from the Blunderbusses as well. You don't get to see the Blunderbusses as much these days, but still can be quite potent in the right situation. The Chaos Dwarf Warrior frontline also trades pretty decently overall. Sorcerer Prophet doesn't actually have to do that much, just gets punched in the face pretty hard. Like to see the Kadai also. One of them manages to pay for itself. Yeah, even with how badly he got beat up, the Bray Shaman still got some insane value. Just goes to show how strong Traderkin is. The rest of the build, a lot of these units are going to struggle to be wildly cost-effective. I don't totally hate the pick of Zangors, but I think you could maybe even go a little bit wider and take a couple of Ungor Spearmen just to kind of, you know, be a little bit of extra annoying fast anti-large in the flanks, even if they get in against infantry units. Again, it's a cheap, fast unit. Maybe bog down, help interrupt some of these Fireglaves and whatnot. But regardless, very fun battle. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.